All right, I know this has got to be weird, but let's continue on, okay? So the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure we have a logo that's horizontal. It can be just text that you type in there, but then you're going to use your CSS styling to make your text white or lighter to contrast with that black. The size, you'd use CSS, etc. But if we want to insert something inside of this header, we need to go insert. So I'm going down to the body in the HTML, the source code, and see where it says logo box. Here's the body, and we've got 3 contents so far, 3 divs. And inside that logo box, you know, I could type something in here, but right now my type's default to black. I haven't stylized it. I actually created a logo, so I'm going to insert it. But the way I do it, watch carefully. I'm going to go to insert, make sure my cursor is right there in between the open and the close of the div, and then I go to insert image. This isn't a rollover image. I could make it a rollover image, but it's not. It's in the project 3 folder. Look for images, and I've already created mine, and it says logo. It's like that. It's a PNG, and I know that it's less than 300 pixels in width. So think about that. If you've got a gigantuan thing that's like 6 inches long and 300 dpi, you need to scale it in Photoshop. So I'm double clicking there, and notice it put it right here. It says, not there, it put it down here. It's supposed to. There we go. I didn't write this code, it did it for me. It just says image source equals images folder / there's the actual file. And here's the width. I can adjust the width if I need to right there. I'm not worried about alt tags this semester. Next semester we'll talk about what that means and why it's important. Okay, so let me scroll up here and you can see my logo. It's kind of floating there. It's the size that I want it to be. It's not positioned the way I want it to be, but I'm going to deal with padding on this here in a moment. So let me size this. This is actually a div, a graphic there, but it's not really in the logo. I guess it is in the div. It's the logo box. I just don't have any style on that. So let's style it. We will always want to do height and width. I went up here to the CSS. Once we finish these basic ones, we're going to externalize it and make an external style sheet. So logo box, width, always do width and height on a container like this. I want the width to be, I'm just going to say 300 pixels. Height, I don't even know, I'm just say auto, so it just kind of fits around it. I am going to have to deal with some padding. I don't know what that'll be yet, but let's say the top, remember it's top right, bottom left in a series, so I'm going to say 10 pixels. I don't need any padding on the right. I don't know that I need padding on the bottom. I do want some padding on the left. I'm just going to say 15 pixels. Now all it's going to do is make this container a little bigger. It doesn't adjust the width of the header, so remember that. And let's click over here and see, did anything happen? I'm not seeing my div. Do I have the logo box in here? Div ID equals logo box, close div. Okay. Oh, and I need to tell it to float left. I haven't done that. So over here where the padding is, after that I'm going to say float colon left. That means it's going to float to the left of whatever the content is in there. All right. I'm going to say timeout just a second, make sure I see what I've done wrong because I'm not seeing the outline of this. Because I told the width to be 300 pixels, and I found the culprit. If you'll zoom in here on my code, I, for some reason, put an underscore between logo and box here, so it wasn't relating to down here where it says logo box. So my styling and my HTML have to coincide. So I bet if I go over here now, I will see, yep, you see the dotted line around here. That's my actual div. It's floating to the left, to the top left corner. That's what it does automatically. But there's my PNG, and that spacing's pretty good. I think I'll put a little more, just a couple pixels of padding on the top. You'll tweak yours the way you need to make it fit. So logo box padding top here, I've got 10. I'll just change that to 12, and boom. Now I don't have to add or subtract from the size of my header because remember that's a different container. This is the only container. The other one I want to do is the logo box, and then the navbar that's going to be on the right. I want it to float to the right, so I need to give it a width. I don't know for sure yet. I'm going to say 450 pixels. And remember, this isn't going to be a responsive website. So if our site browser window actually gets smaller than 800 pixels, things are going to collide and mesh up. But that's not the problem we're trying to solve right now. We're just trying to learn to make a static site. So the width is 450 pixels. I'm just guesstimating that. The height, I'm just going to say auto as well, and because that's where we're going to put our 4 links. And the padding is going to, don't know what that's going to be yet. I know it's not going to be like the ones up above, so right now I'm just going to leave that blank, and I'm going to say float right. All right. Now, I'm going to have links in here, and those are going to be text links, right? I'm going to have to type home, about, store, contact, etc. Those kinds of things, whatever it is you guys decide you want to have for your 4 or 5 links, but in basically, that's what we're going to have. So let's finish this up real quick. I need to insert some text down here. So nothing would show up over here. Well, let me see. Yeah, I've got a little general box there, but there's nothing in it. You can see on the right-hand side. But good news is it's floating to the right as it should. So make sure yours is doing that as well. Otherwise, go back and check the code more carefully. Scrolling down to this part where I have the Navbar, I'm going to space these out a little bit better. So I've got inside the body, I've got the header. It doesn't close until after the Navbar. I've got the logo box with its PNG logo, and it closes. And then I've got the Navbar. It closes, and the header around it. I'm going to put some links in here. They're not links until I make them links. So, but I'm going to just, like we've done before, I'm just going to say home, space, vertical bar. And we can change the padding on these later. We will. I want to make these white, or when I roll over, they have a change of color or something. I'm going to say about, and like I say, these are just generic for on the about page. I'll probably put a location like a map and directions, a little bit of history about what this fictitious boutique is about. And store or gallery, we can call it whatever we want, or you might have another option for you. And then it'll say contact, and we'll make an embedded form there on that page where people fill out to talk to us. Now my text is probably black on black here, so it's not going to show up. Boom. But if you highlight, I can tell there's text in here. Okay, so let's go back to our CSS real quick. And in the nav bar, let's give it some color for the font. So I'm going to say color white, and that's just the default. Now we can go over here and click, and you can see my stuff. It's not spaced out, it's not padded. I'm going to say text align right because I want these. I want this to be over here with some padding later, but don't want it to be floating left here. So what I do that is in the nav bar, we're talking about text here. We haven't selected fonts yet, but you guys know how to do that, and we'll do that later. I want the text align to be right, okay? And then when I skip back over here, you see it's to the right. We'll adjust the padding right now. So we're still in this container, the nav bar, and the padding, I want the padding to be about like it was here, so that was 12 pixels from the top. We'll try that to begin with. It may not look right, but we'll just try that. In fact, I'm just going to copy this, but I know it needs to change. Okay. But 12 from the top, I do want padding on the right, so I'm going to say 15 pixels there, not 150, 15 pixels there. On the bottom doesn't matter, and the left doesn't matter, so I'm saying 0. And let's go look and see how odd it is. It's not too bad. I really want it to be on the same, either on the same baseline or the cap line there. So it's on the same cap line. Actually, that's kind of fine for me. I'd rather do that than have the baseline shared. It feels comfortable for me. Now the font hasn't been selected. You guys will do that. I probably would prefer you use a Google Web font, but you can wait for a moment to do that. And so I wanted to stylize these navigation links just like we have on all the other. I want to roll over. There needs to be some kind of action, so they change color, boldness, or whatever you want to do. I'm going to add a little padding, and I think what I'm going to do is add padding on those little vertical bars. Okay, that works out better than actually putting it in the nav links. So this is going, I'm trying to go quicker. Okay, hashtag Navbar links. Okay, this is a link first. Remember, no space after the colon. A link, and I'm just trying to inset it so it feels like a subset to this Navbar, which it is. Okay. There's 4 states for links, and it's going to be a link, a hover, a visited, and a active. I'm going to finish this up right here offline, and then I'll put it back on video with the final so you can just look at that, but I don't need you to type letter by letter with me. So let's okay, I have updated my navigation links for the nav bar, and you can see them up close. I'll let you look at them for a moment. Nothing out of the ordinary. I just changed the color, and so when you roll over, they're white. My links are white. I want them to go kind of a yellow-green or green-yellow. You can fine-tune that now or later to actually match what you want to be perfectly. One thing I didn't do, I want to change text decoration none to underline. And like I say, you can make different kinds of effects when you go over it. But that's simple. I mouse over it, it's got an underscore, and it's going to change to a green-yellow instead of a white. That's all I want to do for the time being. One thing I did add, I added a font family. Now, I will change this later to a Google font, but I didn't. I wanted a sans serif font up there in my menu bar, my nav bar, and I wanted the size to be a little larger than the default 14, so I made it 18 pixels. And the other thing I added, so I'll leave this here for a moment, is it says I just made a class rule, a classification that says dot vertical bar pad. You can name it whatever you want, just make sure there's no spaces. And I just want to add a little padding to the right and the left of those vertical bars. Okay, so, and I've got 3 things left. I've got to make these things actually links so I can see the hover action work. That is the words home, about, contact, etc. Got to make those actual links by using the property bar, and then add this classification rule to those vertical bars so they indeed put a little padding and push those things to the right and left. I don't know that size is okay, but let's try that. So let me zoom out, do those 3 things, and we'll wrap this section up. So right now, let me go to the vertical bars first. I'm over here in design view. This will not work in live view. Make sure you're in design view, and let's go over and just highlight closely just the vertical bar, and then I'm looking for properties. Kind of zoomed in tight here, but see if I can get it all here together. So I've got the vertical bar selected. I made that class that you should have typed by now, and it shows up. It's the only one we made so far. Called it vertical bar pad, and boom, it pushes it out comfortably. So there's a nice little space there. Grab the next vertical bar and attach that style to it. And the same for the last one right there. Boom. Okay, feel free to pause, rewind, whatever you need to do. Check that out. Now, the next thing I want to do, might as well do it while I'm here, is I already did the home link. I just highlight the word home, and I'm going to name the page about. Actually, that's wrong. That needs to be index. For you, it's going to be index.html. For me, because I had to temporarily call it index2, so don't let me throw you off. But it's going to be index.html because I've got an index finished page already. We're not going to say target equals blank because I don't want to open up in a new window. I just want it to replace the current window. So that's good. I oftentimes insert my cursor here and hit enter just to make sure it took. Then insert the cursor and highlight about, and this one will be about.html. This means it's in the same folder as project 3. We haven't made these pages yet, but we can go ahead and make these links. If you change the name of your pages, then just remember you might want to change the names of your link as long as they correspond. This one's going to be store. Oh my goodness, look what I did. I didn't mean to do that. I meant to type right here. The store is going to be store.html, and then contact. Don't grab spaces before and after. It'll start looking funny when you hover over it. And this is going to be contact.html. All right, enter. So let me zoom out here. Like if I really click these in live view or on in the browser window, they'll go to nowhere because we haven't created those pages. I just want to make sure the hover effect is working. So let's see if it indeed does. Well, the home one's not for some reason. That one works fine. That's green. That's green. That's green. That's green. I guess it's because it's visited. I may have visited white. Well, no, that shouldn't work. Well, I'll find out why that one's not acting right. But the others seem to be fine. All right, you guys, let's go to full screen for a moment and let's refresh what we've got here. Your page should look something like this, but with your content. When I make it small, of course, that's what I'm saying about if you go to smaller than 700 or 800 pixels, those two divs at the top begin to collide with one another. Otherwise, they'll slip up here comfortably. But I'm not worried about it being viewed on an iPad or anything. This is not what we're doing. We'll move next into this content area. You guys come up with a design. It's a little complicated, but that's all right. We'll work through it. So I'll talk to you in the next video.